Hello guys, we are back for Full Deck Challenge. I'm late. This was supposed to come out yesterday. It is currently 2:06 in the morning on Tuesday morning. I had an 8-month-old teether with me since Friday, so I didn't have time to do anything outside of snuggling, cuddling, and comforting the little squirt. Tried to sleep when he did, and by the time I'd fall asleep, he'd be waking up. So I got very, very little sleep over the last 4 days. I'm very tired, so I'm not feeling super creative. So bear with me, but I do want to get these videos out because I know there are people that do enjoy them. But that being said, I'm not feeling super creative. And it's early in the morning, and I've got 2 videos to film because I still have to get my altered index out as well. Or it's not going to go out in 12 hours like it's supposed to. So, that being said, let's get this started. This week's prompt for the Full Deck Challenge is puzzled, or puzzle, singular. Just realized I didn't have my stamps out on my desk. And I also need to figure out something from last week. Okay. Got an idea. I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my sentiments as my carryover from last week. Although I'm going to be so limited this week, I don't know what I'm going to do next week. But that being said, I've already done like puzzle pieces. You might have seen it in my altered index. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Didn't seem like it was this far back. I don't think it was. I think it was toward the beginning of the year. Yeah, week 4. So I have a die cut that you can take any image that you have. In this case, it was a carousel horse, and run it through the Sizzix machine, and it cuts it out into little puzzle pieces. I do still have a couple pieces of those in the altered index basket, I believe. Yeah, I got one. Looks like I might just have one. Thought I had more than that, but nope. Apparently there's just one. So, this we will get to in the next video, but go ahead and pull that out, might as well. I think it'll, yeah. So rather than doing like a picture cut out into puzzle pieces, I'm going to make a little pocket on my card for this week that looks, to me, kind of reminiscent of a puzzle. I'm like, oh, I just looked, I'm like, is my microphone even on? I don't remember who the original creator of this pocket was, but I saw it on Gail Augustinelli, and that's where I learned it. I'm trying to make library cards on an old school typewriter, but I did a short asking if anybody has any suggestions. It's not working so well because the part that holds the paper is too loose, and so as I'm typing, it's slowly turning my card, and by the time it gets here, it just releases, and then I end up like, let me find it. I've got lots of cards here because I've tried multiple times. Oh, it's the one I cut. It ends up like this, where my 2 lines overlap each other because the card stops feeding. So, until I can figure that out, I can't do these. I want to do these. I have a whole huge stack of Rolodex cards, and I'm just trimming off the bottom, trimming off the bottom. And then I'm going to put a big hole punch there as if it's a card catalog card. And typing in, I've downloaded these off of Etsy. So it's different card catalog ones that I'm going to recreate onto these as soon as I can get my typewriter figured out. Because, yeah, I could print all of those on cardstock and cut them out, but then I'm not using the supplies I already have. So, anyway, so this pocket, it can be, the pieces can be any length. I could do long ones, I could do short, skinny, whatever, but they all have to be the same width. And for the purposes of this challenge, I've got 4 different daubers out here. I'm hoping that there's enough ink on the daubers that I don't have to pull the pads out, but we'll see. And I'm just going to go around the edge of each just to kind of give them some delineation from the others. So I've got a pink. This should be the black, which is not. It's a brand new sponge, so there's not a whole lot built up in it. So I happen to have my black out on my desk already. Okay, so we're just going to give that a little black edge. My green should have enough, maybe. Nope. Okay, so let me dig into this pile here. Get my green out. I didn't really think too much about what colors I was grabbing as far as inks. I just kind of, the first 4 daubers that were in line, I was like, yeah, we'll just grab those 4. But unfortunately, like I said, some of them are new. My brown is also a new sponge, so I don't know if it's going to have enough ink in it either. But we're about to find out. Let me put these ones away. Nope. Walnut stain. Now I could do this too, that give it some extra, on the surface itself, give it some grunge. But I didn't do that with any of the other ones. So I have to pull these, pull these back out and give it some zhuzh. Just a little extra smushy, judgy, gunky, whatever. My green kind of already is, just because the nature of that particular ink pad. Sorry, I'm getting my hands in everything back here. Oh, look. Thank you for landing most of that stuff onto the dauber that I needed anyway. I just dumped a whole bunch of these out. I was reaching for my dauber and I flipped this upside down, so. I need to get these moved into something. Just haven't figured out what I want to move it into yet. But here's the one I was after for that anyway. So again, I'm just, putting a little extra on the surface of it. And we're going to put these away. My black was out inconvenient. All right, so what we're going to do with these is kind of a weaving. Oh, I'm all yucky. Yeah. Where's my wipes? Now I do have gloves. Not I already had gloves, but then my husband brought home gloves from his work too. That he's like, so when you're getting messy, doing messy, and I'm like, well. Okay, so what we're doing is we're kind of weaving. And I guess it maybe it did need to be squared off. So weaving them in and out like this, and you want them to meet in the center. So I will be trimming off the excess after the fact. Now what we're doing here is we're creating 4 little pockets for tags. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you come in with your glue, and I don't have my Fabri-Tac out. So this pocket's coming in this way, so we're going to glue down this edge and down this edge. So just about from the middle. And along that back edge. I've done this before, and usually, and when I do it as a big pocket, I usually run it through my sewing machine and just sew around the edges because I like that look. And then, so this one's on bottom, this one goes on top. So this is your pocket going in this way, so you're going to glue here and here. And on this, in this case, I'm going to glue it on the card itself. Okay. And then this one, this side goes under, and this side goes over. So you're creating a pocket that goes this way and a pocket that goes that way. So for this side here, you're going to glue across the bottom and up the top. Down the bottom and up the edge. Okay. And then for this one, so if you don't glue them, you're going to have flip up. So this pocket's coming in from this direction, so you're going to glue here and here. So here and up this edge here. Now, for the sake of just having an extra level of creativity, I could leave that overhang on there. Just to give it, just a little extra, a little extra. And because they're hanging over, some of these I could have left this unglued and had this as a slip through belly band. And this is a slip through belly band if I left this side undone. But that's after the fact. And I'm going to glue this onto my card as an additional pocket. Let's see, which way do I want to go? Let's go this way. So I'm going to make this the top. So I'm holding the edge that I do not want to glue. Glue down the edge. Glue down this edge. And down this edge. You can see all my typing practices on the back. And this is going on just like this as a pocket. So this creates 5 pockets. You can do this in a journal and use bigger strips and make a bigger pocket. Of course, this I'm working with the size of the card, so. Now, if I'd used my Fabrifix, I wouldn't have to be holding this quite so much because it would dry and it would grab much quicker. This is just a watered down wet, like PVA school glue. It's actually a mixture of glues. There's some gel glue in there. There's some generic white glue, some Elmer's school glue, whatever I find. I get them at the secondhand store all the time, and I just combine them into one glue bottle. Plus, I have a gallon jug of Elmer's school glue. So, Defam Adventures had asked, I think it was last week, about stamps. And I only had this book out at that time. Here's my other one. So, or maybe it was this one I had out last week. I think it was this one, because now that I'm thinking about it, it's got all the different colors. So, reds, orange, yellows, greens, blues. Look how full that is. I had originally only bought one thinking they would all fit. Nope. And then purple. These don't fit because they're big. They don't fit anywhere in any of the pockets. But purples, kind of greenish grays, browns, and then little decorated, super colorful ones that are not like, these are all New York, these are all New Hampshire, these are all Virginia, these are all love with the heart roses. This is a coin book, as you can see, World Coin Collection album, but it's perfect for holding most of the stamps that I have. So that's interesting because it's an actual stamp, but if you turn it over, there's stuff on the back. It's interesting. It's almost like the stamp was printed out on paper, but it's got a legitimate cancellation stamp on it, so it's been through the mail service. It's interesting. I never noticed that I had something on the back. These are really cool. So I don't know. Maybe we'll use some of those as decorations. We'll see. So what color? Let's see. Let's get into my neutrals. I was thinking, since we got stamps, well, and stamps are our carryover item. Yeah, these I got off a gentleman on Marketplace. His brother was a stamp collector, and he was the executor of his brother's will, and so he has had all of his possessions, and he posted these on Marketplace, and I was like, ooh, stamps, yes please. And I picked these up from him for $35, and I have a whole box over there on my shelf of 1940s envelope, like addressed envelopes. Ooh, that barely fits on there. I should have, as Rachel would say, auditioned that. Sorry, I'm reaching. I have a handful at arm's length Oh, look, there's more stamps. But it's old envelopes from the 40s. Some of them are addressed and have been through the mail. I didn't know this was a thing. There's literally like no envelope or no mail inside of it. I don't, you probably can't tell. But it's just an envelope addressed, stamped, and mailed. But there's nothing in it. It's just the envelope. And this one's 1936, mailed from New York, going to Chicago, Illinois. But there's a bunch of different kinds of really cool stamps. Like this one, same thing. There's nothing in these. They're just sealed and mailed envelopes. But nothing in them. But they got, really cool designs on them. Really neat. I love the old, nobody writes like this anymore. This one's from 32. First flight airmail route, Corpus Christi, Texas, June 1932. And again, it's a sealed envelope. Although this one does look like there's something in it. If I put it up to my light, I can't. Oh, no. Nope, there's nothing in it. It's just a sealed envelope. But some have really cool, like, historical information on them. And so, I mean, this is just, like, within reach of me. I've got some, like, off onto the shelf, just off to my right. And then I've got a whole box. Okay, this is just an envelope. There's nothing special about it. It's all crumpled up. We're just gonna toss that one. But I got Boy Scout stamps. Oh, there's more stamps in this one. Postcards. Mutual of Omaha. See, there's more stamps in there. More stamps. I'm just going to drop these in here. Eventually I'll put these away at some point off camera. And it looks like I might need to go through this stack because there's a whole lot of stamps in here that got mixed in. Let's just do this. And then any stamps that are in there should fall out, right? But fun stuff. Fun stuff. Postcards. Got all kinds of stuff in here. Envelopes that are actually in glassine bags. 1940. 1940. More stamps. 1942. I'm not sure why they're in glassine bags. I like the glassine bags. I'll probably use those at some point. But anyway, right after I picked these up from him, he apparently had found some more, and he put another ad on Marketplace and said, "Hey, to the lady that just picked up stamps from me, contact me. I found more." Well, I didn't see it right away, and by the time I did, he'd already moved. He didn't move far. He just moved next town over. Hold on, I'm going to be quiet while I reach past my microphone to put these away. By the time I saw it on Facebook, like I said, he had already moved. But I did contact him anyway, and he's like, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "We're in our new house." He goes, "I haven't even had time to get out into my garage yet. So can you call me in a couple months?" And I was like, "Sure, no problem." And this was in September, October of 2024. So I agreed to call him in December. I called him at the beginning of December. He hadn't been able to get out and do any organization in his garage, and I'm like, "All right, no problem. I'll call you again in a couple months." I tried again in February, same thing. He hadn't been able to get out into the garage, and I'm like, "You know what? I'm not gonna keep bothering him. I've got more than I'm ever going to know what to do with, so we're just gonna call it good." I'm not cutting here. I'm just measuring because I don't know. I gotta figure out how big I need to make my tags. So one, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I keep forgetting these can go this way too. I'm so glad Gail is back from her retreats. So tonight, or last night was Sunday night, was her first video back. I'm like, I've missed you. I'm not the only one. I know a lot of us, you know, we get used to having her videos every single night. So, you know, when she's not able to record, we kind of go through withdrawals. But the last couple, her last night and tonight's video were showing us what she made at the retreat. Okay, so this, we're going to go about there. So that is how big. And I'm just making some guesses here. Let's go 1 1.25. No, 1.5. And we need 4 of them. And this is just stuff that's on my desk that I'm using right here. I'm not even sure what this cardboard is from. I just happened to look over and went, oh, okay. Neutral, stiff enough to be little miniature tags. Okay. And then to make them tag-like, put that aside. Oh, I need to do one for the back. So I'm going to get my little scissors out. And to make them look like tags, now there's techniques. You can, if you want, if you're a stickler and you need these to be the same size, you cut the little tip off, okay? And then you flip it completely over, you line it back up, and then you cut that little tip off. Now, that's a little too little and fiddly for me to deal with. So I'm just going to hand do it, and if they're not exact, it's just going to have to be okay with that. And then I'm going to use it as a template for the rest. That one didn't cut straight. I'm not going to worry about it because this is not really... I keep bumping my mouse and it's not turned off. And I was doing a video. I was filming my videos for the Dr. Bunny, my Lego bunny. And I went to end the video and I looked up and it was already ended. And I'm like, oops. And I think at some point I must have bumped the mouse. So you got 4 little tags and they go in like this and like this. Oh, I'm like, what is going on here? Like this. You can see this one's lifting, so I'm going to pull that out, put some glue back up under there. And I can wait because it's that one's drying. This one, somehow or another, I managed to glue the pocket almost all the way closed. So, giving that just a little assistance down in there. put them blind side up in this case. See? And then you got 4 little tags that go in a little thing. And then this back here is a tag in and of itself. So let's see what colors I have available on my desk. This works, but I think we need to trim. Oh, almost fits. Trim it down just a smidge. Love my new trimmer, by the way. And then that'll slide back in there as a pocket itself. But again, I think I've glued. My glue seeped, so it's glued in spots that I don't want it to be glued. Make it a little bit smaller. And then we're going to trim that off right about there. And I'll show you what I was talking about with doing your corners on. You snip a corner like this. Okay. And then you turn this so that it's on the opposing side. You line up your corner and your edges. It's very hard to do with something little unless you got like good coordination with little things, which I generally don't. And then you just cut off that corner there. And then you have matching sides. So that's going to be a little taggy down in there. And it's just not wanting to hold glue. Hold in place. I'm going to take this. Where'd that little puzzle piece go? There's that. I really wish I had any of my glues open, but I didn't plan that accordingly. Go ahead and glue this on here. This is not going to make sense. It's literally just decorate with what's on my with what's on my desk. I think that's supposed to go that way. It's a horse hoof. I actually think it's supposed to go there, but that's okay. Glue on there. So I'm going to take these scraps and I'm going to put them in my box as potentials for next week. You know, so we gotta have that carryover item. What would have been really fun is if I'd had the bottom half of the lady from last week, and I could have put that on here. I'm going to take this what I'm going to do is I don't know if this hole's going to be small enough. I might need to get my other tool. Yeah, even that hole's a little big. Some people may recognize this if you do any kind of other stuff. This is a leather punch, but I use it in my craft room for making holes and stuff. I think I need to clean my piece out. And then I'm going to try to thread this through. Which is funny because I'm like, no, I don't want a big hole there. And then I grab a piece of cardboard that's too big. That's right. Okay. And then I'll take a piece, a little dab of glue. One on each side. I'm going to glue that little string like that. And that's going to have to sit there. It is. Oh, my desk is such a mess. You know, and I thought, he's 8 months old. I'll be able to get some work done. And, you know, my plan was to come in and do some cleaning in my craft room while he slept. And nope, none of that happened because he hardly slept, which meant I hardly got any reprieve at all. I hardly got any sleep, as I was saying in the top of the hour. Push that out. Color. See what color I pull out. I'm not even looking. That's a back. Pink. That works. Squish it down. My eyelets on there. That goes in. And then I have my little sentiments here. What is the hang up here? Okay. Let's put this away. Memory Keeper sells these. This is a generic brand. I got it off of Temu. But it is called a Crop-A-Dile by Memory Keepers. Crop, C-R-O-P A-D-I-L-E, Crop-A-Dile. I definitely realize that, you know, had I got one from Memory Keepers, it probably would be higher quality, I would assume. Although I'm not real impressed with my Memory Keepers all-in-one paper trimmer, so see if I can find 4. Live, love, create, give. I was looking for 4 4-letter words. Oh, I gotta make some more of those. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. That's right. I still gotta figure out where I'm gonna organize these two. This was my initial storage system, and then I've been able to find other stuff that I like better. And if you don't remember from last week or you didn't watch last week, these are printed on labels. And what I did was, first I stamped it with brown with my wood grain stamp. And then with the black, I did the words. These were secondhand store labels, so I definitely don't trust the sticky on them. But even if I bought them brand new, in general, I wouldn't trust the sticky. I would definitely put some glue on them. In general, I don't trust stuff like this to last long term. I learned that with washi tape, so I just add an extra little elemental of glue just to give it some extra security. Ooh, that one barely fits on there. Oh, and then after that, I used, I have some die cuts that look like torn paper, but they're in the smallest ones, like this big. So I cut out, I used the corner piece and cut out, and then I moved the paper over into another corner so I can cut it all on all four sides. Gives a nice, from my perspective, I like it. It gives it, you know, a jaggedy edge all the way around. Gives it some character. Okay, set that one aside. These were my last two on, so those, I'm gonna let those dry for just a second longer. We'll put these back in. So we got love going that way. Wish. I should have put that one the other way. And then live is going this way. So give is going to be upside down because I don't want it to be, it would bug me to have my tags not going in the same direction. But there is this week's card. So 4 strips put together to make 4 pockets, 4 little tags. You glue it on 3 sides to make an additional pocket to go in the back. My carryover item from last week are the sentiment labels. My constant is my stamps. And then this is, to me, is puzzle-esque. Plus I have the little puzzle piece there. So there we go. That is week 21. Oh my goodness. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you in the next video. Peace out.